Hey, it's Clay. Welcome to another League of Legends video. This is going to be another episode in my replay analysis series where I take a look at gameplay sent in to me by you, the viewers, in an effort to provide helpful coaching and gameplay feedback. This is going to be watching this Thresh gameplay this time. Thank you very much for sending this in. Again, some standard things to get out of the way is, first and foremost, if you are interested in having your play featured on an episode of Replay Analysis, feel free to send in your replays to clayplaysreplayanalysis@gmail.com. I'm having a lot of success working with Baron replay files. op.gg has been really stable. Law replay can potentially work, although I've been having a lot of troubles, so I can't guarantee anything. I actually would discourage using law replay if you have a choice. And other law replay clients or programs should probably work. You can go ahead and give it a shot. So please feel free to send in replays. A couple of standard disclaimers is I prefer it if the games are a little bit more competitive. I like ranked matches. I like games that are close. I've had a couple of times where people will send in stuff where it's like a total stomp and they get like 30 kills, and you know, there's just not a lot to say because you're doing so well just because you have such an item advantage. So I kind of would prefer if the game is a little bit closer, where there are both good and bad things to analyze. I think it just makes for a more entertaining experience all around. So let's talk a little bit about support as we watch the beginning of this landing phase. I'm probably going to back up and talk about some of these decisions in a second, but I will say this till the end of time. For those of you that believe that carrying out of low elo as a support is next to impossible, I will argue that those of you are wrong. I think that low elo players can carry as a support just as well as any other league. Support play is very underrated and undervalued by the general LoL community. Support players are so impactful. In the laning phase, AD carries are extremely weak. AD carries scale with items. You know, they are worthless without them. Just the Adorn's Blade AD carry is one of the weakest characters in the entire game. Whereas a support, they have damage, they have crowd control, they've got utility, they've got, you know, all sorts of good things going on for them. And so, you know, if you are a support player, understand that you have a lot of power and impact in the game. And one of the ways that I like to look at it and phrase it, for those of you that are skeptical, is how often have you seen terrible support play? You know, we've all had an experience with that support niddly, or that's not really a thing anymore, but it was for a while, where they go tier death cap as a support niddly, and just, you know, no words, no CC, no playmaking ability, just completely worthless in almost every way possible. You know, compare your potential support play to that, because if you can bring to your allies more than that, you are putting your team in a good position to win the game. You're basically making it a 4v5. So, you know, if the other support on the enemy team is totally worthless and you are being very impactful, then you can definitely carry and win the game. Another thing, too, is a lot of times support players are kind of, you know, one of the biggest differences is that you'd never last hit, right? You know, you're not focusing on last hitting. Well, take that as an opportunity to free you up, as an opportunity to give yourself an opportunity to focus your time and attention on other parts of the map. Things like shot calling, pinging out the jungler, placing wards, controlling map vision, making calls for objectives. These are all things that supports do really well. You know, if you ever watch the LCS, one thing you'll notice is that very frequently supports will be one of the primary shot callers on the team. And, you know, there's no coincidence there. There's a reason for that. And it's because supports are in a very good position to do that. So bringing that to your team can be very impactful. So, with all of those things out of the way, let's go ahead and back up a little bit and kind of we've watched some of the intro to the game. Let's go ahead and take a look. So my first thing is that we see your teams pings out the enemy team on the map invading your red buff. So you guys do a nice job of deciding to go and invade and steal their red buff. That is the proper response. And I like how you as a support, as a Thresh player, are stepping out and being very active and scouting out and making sure that your jungler doesn't get 3 buffed. 3 buffed meaning that the other enemy gets 3 buffs, your jungler only gets 1. One thing though is that I would really encourage you guys to be a little bit quicker on the leash. You kind of stick around for a little bit too long. Whether that means giving an let's see, what ability did you take first? Your E, that's probably best. Give a flag, give an auto attack or 2, and then get out of there. Because you guys have gotten to lane. What the world? You guys have gotten to lane very, very slowly. My pause function isn't working. What the world? Sorry, guys. Well, anyways, and because you get to lane, I'll just go really slow. Because you get to lane so late, that means that Ezreal and Leona have an advantage to hit level 2. And one of the things you'll notice is a theme in my replay analysis is I always look at the level 2. And right here, you'll see that Ezreal and Leona hit level 2 faster than you, and you're already at half health, so that puts you at an extreme disadvantage. If I'm playing Leona, I am going to go all in on you. I'm going to use everything I can to secure this kill. This is such an easy kill, and it's looked like that's exactly what she tries to do. But she misses her zenith, but you are a sitting duck right here. So, if you aren't going to get level 2, you need to be playing back here and letting the wave push into you. This is very dangerous. This is an accident waiting to happen. This is a first blood waiting to be given up. So, give a quicker leash. Giving a leash to your jungler is good, but not if it is at the expense of your early laning phase. And also, memorize what it takes to hit level 2. In a dual lane, that means you need to take the entire first wave of creeps. That's 3 melee minions, 3 ranged minions, and then you need to get 3 melee minions from the second wave for both of you to hit level 2 at the same time. You need to memorize that timing. You need to be watching for it yourself, and you need to be watching for the enemy dual lane to see when they will hit level 2. And so, you guys kind of dodged a bullet, which is mostly just because I don't think that Leona played it as well as she could have. So, moving forward here. One thing I will say is I like the Ruby Crystal start on Thresh. Gives him some nice combat stats, and it gives him a really quick Sightstone. Thresh, I'm just going to slow this down and talk for a second about starting items on Thresh. As an AD carry main, one of the things that is most annoying in all of League of Legends is when your Thresh starts with the Targon's Embrace or Face of the Mountain, whatever the green, the tanky support item is, and he tries to trying to coordinate with a Thresh about last hitting minions is one of the most annoying things in the whole game. Because Thresh is the passive auto attack damage on his E is super difficult to know if it's charged up, and it just is. It's a hassle. I don't like it. If you're playing with a duo partner where you can communicate, it's fine. But in solo queue, I really don't like when a Thresh support starts with the green, just because I think it's so difficult to coordinate. So I like the Ruby Crystal start. I also am a fan of starting with the Ancient Coin. I think that Leona should be someone starting with the green, and I think Thresh is somebody who can start either Ruby Crystal or with the coin. Okay, I'm going to back up here because there's some parts of this engagement that I think are worth talking about. I'm really annoyed my pause button isn't working. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so you're sitting at level 2. Alright, there you guys hit level 2. That Leona engages. I'm going to slow this down. So going fairly aggressively is fine. Callista gets some nice damage off. And then we get a nice hook on the Ezreal. Now at this point, I think it might be a mistake to go in at that point, just from the simple fact that this puts you in range of their creeps. Right now you're taking a ton of damage from these minions and these 2 champions, while Callista's getting zoned out a little bit. That's why this goes so poorly for you guys, and you have to flash out. I would have been content to take the hook, maybe throw in an empowered auto attack, and that's it. Now Callista gets baited. Now right here, you turn and run. If I were you, I would consider trying to continue to fight the Leona, because again, minion damage. You have the minions in your favor. Right here, the minions are going to be attacking the Leona very heavily. If Callista would turn and fight, this Leona could be on much lower health, and I think that you could potentially bait in the Leona. One thing to realize between Thresh and Leona, Thresh is a much more effective fighter over a sustained fight, whereas Leona is very cooldown dependent. Once Leona E's and Q's, she's worthless. Whereas Thresh can still auto-attack, he's a ranged champion, he's got his Flay passive, and so I would have preferred to see you try to maybe bait out that fight a little bit. I know you were on very low HP, but I think you could have potentially had that fight come out a little bit more in your favor if you would attempt to kite the Leona, get some auto-attacks in there, and try to fight her within your creep wave. The creeps are so powerful. Very, very nice flavor there, but the creeps are so powerful. And a very nice lantern as well. That was very nicely played. Anticipating the Leona engage, trying to negate it, and then using your lantern to save the Callista. But to finish that point is that creeps are extremely powerful, and anytime you can fight in your creep wave, you're going to win. Creeps are the most impactful thing of pretty much any fight. Okay. So it looks like things go a little bit wrong here. Now, I think that mostly this is just an instance of Callista getting engaged on. And then as the Thresh support, you're kind of just shucks out of luck. I think you decide to just die here, which is fine. I'll watch this one more time. Kind of see where it goes wrong. Okay, so Callista goes to throw out her Sentinel. That's fine. Now the Leona, she just kind of steps up and goes in. Fortunately, you missed the Flay. And then the hook actually probably does you more damage than good there, just because it slows down your retreat. I think if you would have just turned and ran, you have the shield from your W, and you still have your flash, I believe, unless this is bugged out. I believe that you still would have had your flash. I would have preferred, so when the Leona engaged, and you missed your Flay, I would just tuck tail and run. Save your W. Save your W just because you're going to need the shield to maybe bait out a low HP. And then try to use your flash to escape. I think you maybe could have made it out there. Okay, so we made it back. This is just a little minor thing, but I really like the fact that you're actively trying to push with your AD carry. One thing that I don't see supports do enough is understand lane mechanics, when to push, when to freeze, and helping your AD carry in that effort. A lot of times I think a support would just stand there and watch, and I think you did a nice job. This is also a really smart thing, so whenever your AD carry goes back, I can't pause, it really bothers me. So whenever your AD carry goes back, you're kind of stuck with nothing to do, so I really like the fact that you're roaming mid. I believe that we do see Nocturne on this ward, so that is even better, that you can potentially come in and provide a little bit of backup. Sorry if I'm whispering. Some people just went to sleep and I don't want to be loud, so I apologize if my voice is very quiet. But I'm doing as best I can. Okay, so nice job of stepping up. The RA just kind of whiffed there. Oh, and we landed a hook. Nice, that was free. Ooh, see, that's where I think it goes a little bit wrong. Yeah, see, I think that this might end a little badly. I want to watch this one more time. Okay, so I like that you step up here, just if anything to provide a little bit of pressure to let Katarina step up in CS. And then you land a hook. But I think that the moment you landed the hook, I think your decision needs to be... Watch this really slowly. So I think as you land this hook, that's nice. But I think your decision needs to be to stay put, because right where Ari is definitely in tower range. You're only level 4, so these tower shots are really going to hurt. And that kind of baits in the Katarina to potentially dive, which I don't think she maybe wanted to do. And she gets charmed. So I kind of, yeah, she has to end up burning her flash, Nocturne comes in. I would have been a little bit happier just to see you land the hook and be content. That's kind of something I've seen twice now, and just like a little minor thing. But knowing the decision making of when you land the hook when to follow up and when to not follow up, and understand that it's perfectly acceptable to land a hook and to let the opportunity go. That's just kind of something that comes with experience. Okay, nice job. Getting that is going to help with some dragon control. So it looks like we step up here. Now I really wish I could pause. This is really bothering me. So let's see how this game goes. I have a feeling it's not going to go very well. Okay, the hook unfortunately misses. Xin Zhao is taking a ton of damage. Leon is very tanky. He's going to die. Yeah, he goes in because he should have really eated to these creeps, and then he baits you and Callista in as well. So, I really wish I could pause, but I'm just going to have to keep going. My thoughts on this situation is that, when you walk up, one thing to realize is that when you roamed, there's a trade-off. Oh, this is pretty nice, but nice shield, very, very nice shield right there. Ends up saving your life. Callista gets a nice kill. Pretty sure that this kill gets picked up. Nice. She's gonna get it though. That's the auto attack. Okay, so as you and Xin are walking in, one of the things I immediately noticed is that you and Xin Zhao were level 4, while oh, nice use of that Callista ultimate to get the knockout. But one of the things, God, I'm so annoyed I can't pause. So just a retrospect about this situation is as you and Xin Zhao are walking in, you're both level 4, but these two are level 5, and Callista is at like 10% HP. So you have to basically think about this situation as a 2v2, and that 2v2 is not one that you're going to win. You know, you're a level down. You're basically, you know, a combined level 8 versus a combined level 10. That's not a fight that you guys are going to win. And so, you know, just the level of disadvantage alone, the creeps, you know, like even just looking at the items, the fact that Xin Zhao, I don't know if he had his jungle item or what, but, you know, Ezreal and Leona are going to be a little bit stronger, I think. So, again, not necessarily a fight I would have liked to see you take. So overall, just to kind of metagame some of the feedback. So for a lot of it, it's been about decision making and when to aggress, you know, when to follow up on a hook, when to not. Oh, wow, that was really close. I would say that you've done a really nice job, but in some of those little split-second decisions, it's really important to analyze whether or not you can win the fight and allow your decisions to adjust accordingly. I really would have liked to see you back here. I have a feeling this is going to go poorly. And this kind of really puts Callista in a tough spot because, well, why does she have 2 pickaxes? Yikes. So yeah, so now she's in a tough spot and you need to try to come help her out, but you guys are both going to die here. Yeah, I definitely think that would have been a good situation for you to back. Well, you get one that kind of helps make up for it a little bit. I guess overall, I would have liked to see you back there, just because I think on such low HP. Now, granted, that is going to leave Callista in a tough spot, but you kind of just have to do the best you can with what the situation gives you. So yeah, to kind of summarize what I was saying a little earlier, with this decision making, you need to almost, as a support player, you need to be constantly evaluating the situation and thinking about whether or not you can succeed if you go for a fight. Things like level advantages, items, champion power spikes are really, really important to take into account. Oh, interesting. Okay. Not a bad use of the Callista ult, also not a bad hook. Leona kind of whiffs on her ulti there. I think this is a good fight. Nah, that went really well. That was really well played. The teleport's coming in, but you guys should continue to stay aggressive. Okay. You can see if you can get some crowd control on Jax. Good hook. Good flay. Try your best to keep nice. Played a lot of this fight very, very well. Okay, so lives, and he lives. Nice. Okay, so a lot of the feedback I had from the earlier section of the game, you know, about decision making and about, you know, you really did a nice job right there. That was very well played. I think that one of the reasons why that went so well is Callista's got a nice item advantage over Ezreal. You know, Phage and Sheen is kind of meh. Even though her build is kind of wonky, I kind of would give Callista a little bit of an advantage. She's got 168 attack damage, Ezreal's at 114. Now granted, a lot of that is in the Sheen, but I still would have give you guys a little bit of the item advantage, so that's kind of what I'm talking about, is as a support, it's very important to be constantly evaluating the situation. Can you win the fight, or are you going to lose the fight? You know, these things need to be constantly running in your head. Where are the levels at? Where are the items at? Where are the champion power specs at? All of those things are relevant and come into play. And so, yeah, I think that with a little bit of, you know, a little bit closer inspection of some of your decision making, I think you can definitely, yeah, you clearly are showing, you've landed some nice hooks, you've got some nice game sense with your roaming, you're just showing a little bit better discernment about when to go in, when to back. You know, a lot of these deaths or these things could have potentially have been avoided, because I think that you definitely show a little bit of promise. I think this is a situation to just back. Pretty decent hook. Okay, good. Nice. Dodging. Whoa, Callista with the last Whisper Rush. Dang. That's not probably very good. Okay. Whoa. That got real. A little bit overextending, kind of something you've done a couple of times, is stayed a little bit longer than you probably should have. Not a huge mistake, but I know that your intention is probably just to support your AD carry, because they're there and they need you, but at the same time, you do have to try to do what's best, you know, whether or not, you know, Ezreal has 4 kills now, and some of those have come from you. Good flash. Keep yourself alive. Oh, very nice play right there. I want to watch that one more time, that was beautiful. Unfortunately, you get caught out a little bit, and you do end up having to flash. You would for sure have died. And then this is sweet. Let's check this out. So, a beautiful lantern. And then Ari just gets totally baited. Because, shwing, the beautiful hook. That was very nicely played. This is what I'm talking about. You know, just kind of to... I'm going to let this fight play out in slow-mo as I talk about my point. Looking at your team comp, you've got Callista, Katarina, Vladimir. These champions, well, I guess specifically these two, are very high damage, low utility, low crowd control, low engage. These champions are worthless unless they've got somebody like Thresh. So when I look at this game, you are the champion that is going to win or lose this game for your team. If you are able to set up kills like you just did and make plays like you just did, you're going to have a lot easier time. Now, unfortunately, this fight kind of gets turned around on you a little bit. A lot of that is because Callista wasn't there. Callista had a lot of the kills and the power in your team. Vlad, can you get another combo off? Where's the pool? Where's the pool? Oh, Vlad, I think you could have had that kill. Where's the pool, buddy? Did he already use it? Oh, nice. Use the troll pool. Nice. Can you get another? He just needs one more ability. Nice. Okay. But, you know, you are the playmaker. You are the one who's going to set up the kills for your allies to make plays. You know, supports are so important in a game like this. Alright, a quick note. Another thing is, I feel like your itemization is a little bit all over the place. Now, this happens on support, and it really isn't that big of a deal, but I maybe would have liked to see you focus a little bit more. You know, going all the way up to what's it called? The I don't even know, the full yellow item. I don't even know what it's called. The one that gives you the speed boost for your team. Not Shirelia's. I'm totally having a mind fart right now. And then you know, the Kindle Gem, and then also the components of the Glacial Shroud. You're kind of all over the place. I maybe would have preferred to see you focus a little bit more on a specific itemization path. Because one of the things about supports is that the active and the passive components of their items are so important. You know, the Shirelias, I'm really annoyed that I'm blanking on that item. But, you know, the speed upgrade for your team, if you're going to get Frozen Heart to reduce the attack speed of Jax and Nocturne and Ezreal, you know, if you're going to turn your Kindle Gem, you know, kind of all over the place. You really want to try and secure some of those high-profile passive-active components and then go after something a little bit more important later. You'll get tanky after you get the utility for your team. Your team doesn't need damage. They need somebody to make plays and then to set them up. Oh, I'm a little unfortunate, I think, on that hook. What the world? Oh, that's the Callista ultimate. Wow, she saved her life with that. That was pretty sweet. I like that you're potentially staying around. Oh, unfortunately. Team is a little bit overextending with the chase here. Being content with what you've got. Yeah, see, this is... Okay, you make it out, but... Yeah, I guess I just think that maybe... I know that your intention is that you want to stay around and help your team. But I do think that in some of these instances you would be better off just saying, you know what? I got like 10% of my health. I got a base. And I'm going to come back ready to rumble. Oh, nice. This was a really nice play. I don't know exactly who set it up, but I like that you guys are trying to set up picks, because I think that you guys can work really well in some of these more scattered team fights. Really nice play, and a really nice use of the exhaust. Hopefully... Oh, a nice hook, too. I know that you're going to end up giving your life for that, and that's fine. Hopefully Callista... Does she ever eat? Oh, she doesn't have mana. Dang. She's dead. And now he's dead. Ooh, woof. A lot of unnecessary deaths there, I think. Being a little bit more cautious about fighting at low health, I think, could have served you and your team a little bit better. Okay, so at this point, don't really have the goal to get anything. At this point, I think it's important, at this stage of the game, at almost every game, as a support, you need to really hone in on what your win conditions are, especially as the game has started to progress a little bit. It's really important to understand, you know, what do I need to do? What does my team need me to do in order to win the game? So just looking at the power, you know, your team is pretty strong. And so... Well, I think all you really need to do is try to set up plays like you're doing, you know, looking to land this hook. This is perfect support play. You know, this right here that's happening is so good for your team, and it's all because you did a nice job of setting it up. Getting in the mix is really nice. Very nice flash. I don't really know how the rest of this fight is going to play out, but yeah, you're going to die. Unfortunate, you know, I think you guys have done consistently, you've done a nice job of starting off really good fights, but then the more that they drag on, the worse that they get, because I think that there's a little bit too much overextending going on. A little bit too much overstaying, staying beyond your welcome at very low health. The perfect scenario for a tank is one where, as a tank, you know, absorb a ton of damage, you eat a ton of spells, and you get out on like 5% of your health, and you live on like 5% of your HP. That's like perfect tanking, because you stayed alive long enough. Now, kind of get picked off, but hopefully this zoning for your team can go long enough to help them. So I know you died there, but I don't necessarily think you did anything wrong, just because by you absorbing a lot of the pressure, you manage to, yeah, your team is just really overstaying their welcome. Like, these fights are, ugh, yikes. Not so good. You know, we're allowing Ezreal to play to his strengths. Ezreal is so good the longer the fight draws on that his mobility, his slipperiness, his poke can really take over. Kind of letting Ezreal play to his strengths, and I think, yeah, this could be a little bit better. I'm wondering if you maybe DC here. But again, you know, as a support player, extremely important to focus on good decision making and that be one of your primary concerns. You know, you are the best person in position to shot call, the best person in a position to, wow, how did he die there? That was obscene. Ezreal's pretty big. You know, and a lot of these kills that the Ezreal has picked up have been kind of garbage kills at the end of a fight, and now he's got 16. Like, that isn't necessarily because he's this godlike AD carry. He's just been in position to clean up a lot. And he's, yeah, granted, he's playing his champion exactly how he should. But I think that if we hadn't stayed so long in certain situations, or if we had been a little bit better about, you know, funneling or shot calling in such a way that you, oh, nice hook. I think you probably thought you had followed up. Maybe it glitched out or something, but it doesn't necessarily matter. Wait a minute, the Ezreal didn't die? Are you flipping joking me? Oh my, the chase is real. Go for the hook? Oh. Okay, we'll get it anyways, that's fine. We're really kind of just a little minor thing, but, you know, when she's in Zhonya's, that's the easiest hook you'll ever land, because you know exact the moment when she's going to come out of it, and you know exactly where she'll be standing when she comes out of it. So there's a nice hook. Stay with Vlad, and I think you guys can win this fight. Be careful about overextending. It's been a consistent theme throughout this game. It's just kind of staying too long when you don't have the health or the cooldowns or the, I guess, information to back it up. Just a very minor thing, but I like that your vision, I just talk about wording, I like that your vision has transitioned towards Baron's side. Once you get to about 20 minutes, I think you will really want to try and start focusing the brunt of your vision on Baron rather than Dragon side. You know, you start the game off in the bottom lane, but you definitely want to transition your vision focus towards Baron. Alright, so now at this point, we've got a little bit of a gold deficit, probably have an objective deficit just in terms of towers. Okay, so this, yeah, didn't end up going quite so well here. Flay wasn't quite as impactful as I would have liked, and ended up going down. You know, again, I think that this is a fight where, you know, getting back to my initial point, I think at this situation, let's take a look, we don't actually end up seeing the Jax getting the flank, but there's really no reason to be in this, I'm going to slow this down, there's no reason to be here. You know, there's nothing to defend here, it's just a death trap. I would much prefer you guys play a little bit more cautiously, simply because, you know, there's only 3 of you. Vlad is pushing mid. You know, this is not a good situation to be in, a potential 3v5. And so Ahri ults, Jax comes in, they focus down the Katarina, and by the time you come out of the ultimate, it's just too late. You know, it's not necessarily something you could have done. A lot of it was just your team maybe not being in the right place at the right time, but even just something as small as you know, immediately retreating to this tower and pinging the help me ping or the fallback, you know, that maybe could have been enough to make the difference. And so now we're losing an inhibitor, and Vlad probably isn't going to get the mid tower because Jax is TPing. They might even be able to end the game. So, yeah, I think overall, you definitely made some nice plays and had, I think, a lot of potential for some very, very strong support play. But just being a little bit more, having a little bit better understanding of when to engage, when to disengage, when to pick a fight, when to retreat. These are the constant, you need to be constantly weighing the pros and the cons and the power spikes and the items and the champions. All these little variables and details need to be running through your mind. Because really where this game got out of control was on the Ezreal. He got 17 kills, and almost all of them, at least in the early mid-game, were in these kind of, I call them garbage kills. They're cleanup, they're junk kills, based on you guys making mistakes in overextending, over-chasing, and that led you to get picked off. So overall, I really appreciate this replay, though. I think you had some really nice plays and some potential to continue to improve. Just try to be a little bit more focused and clear on your decision making. Weigh those pros and cons. Really tried to constantly analyze when to go in, when to fade back. You had some really good signs of life, but just with a little bit more improvement in that area, I think you could really make some nice steps. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Continue to send me your replays at clayplaysreplayanalysis@gmail.com, and I'll see you soon. Bye.